Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Mask of the Betrayer, where we are trying to get this idiot out of a contract with a devil, mostly because hopefully that will mean he doesn't go to the Hells and become a new devil. He'll probably go to the Fugue Plane and end up in the walls of the Faithless, but we'll see about that later. Uh, Mortals always escape their contracts by finding some type of error. The rules. The stories were always a little hazy on the details of the rules the devils followed. I think most of the ones used in the stories were made up, as the authors didn't really know anything about the topic themselves. So fortunately, we have an expert in Batizu rules standing just over there. Good luck convincing him to help you. It might be worth a shot. Let me go talk to him. Hello again, my friend. Always a pleasure. What would you like to discuss now? I'd like to ask about Ferris. If you must, this is going to be a dreadfully boring line of questioning, though, I assure you. Did he really fulfill all the claim conditions in the contract? Oh, yes, he had a slow start, to be sure, but he finished up rather quickly. All in all, will be one of my more lucrative endeavors this century. And what do you mean by slow start? Well, at first he was reluctant to perform any of the tasks asked of him. It's a fairly natural reaction, and one I've long been accustomed to dealing with. But then he performed the rest quickly. Once the first few tasks were out of the way, he attacked the rest with gusto. I believe he completed more than half the contract in just a few days. I want to ask about something else. I'd like to ask some questions about the contract. Oh, by all means, do so. By all means, a fine piece of work, that document. One of my finest, in fact. What in particular did you ask about it? I'd like to know about the favors and conditions. Oh, right. Getting to the meat of the documents, I see. The section is actually pretty standard as far as such things go. I promise to do certain favors for a mortal in exchange for particular services they can do for me. Let's see, inflicting pain on a helpless being doing you service. It corrupts the one performing the service, of course. That's what we do. After all, we corrupt mortals. Were aware of that, were you not? Actually, I wasn't. What's the purpose of corrupting mortals? Yes, I was just testing you. Of course. Well, I'm delighted to have passed your test, so wise one. Good. I think you can be delighted to answer any more of my questions. Of course. What would you like to know? I'd like to know about infernal contracts in general. My favorite subject! What about contracts would you like to know? What types of contracts are there? There are two main varieties, but nearly limitless variations of those two. The first type of contract is known as the Pact Certain. It is a simple and binding agreement where an immortal offers up his soul and a Batizu specifies what will be given for it. And what's the other type of contract? The other type of contract is known as the Pact Insidious. It is composed of a list of lesser favors a mortal can receive if specific acts are performed. There is this one fellow, I believe, by the name of Percival von Klauski Frederickstein de Rollo III, who has such a pact. Well, let's stick to this particular world setting, thank you. So that would be the type of contract that Ferris signed. Exactly, I had offered him a pact certain initially, but he had shied away when the topic of his soul was brought up. Quite a shame, really. It would have kept things much simpler. And can I ask another question about contracts? Surely, what would you like to know? How does one get out of a contract? You don't. Contracts are binding agreements, and as such are enforced harshly. So there's no define harshly. One possible punishment involves sending a pack of infernal hounds to tear the Oathbreaker to shreds. His remains scattered to the winds. From there, the measures only get worse. So there's no way to get out of one. No, not if the contract is well written. So if there was a flaw in the contract somewhere, a mortal could get out of it? I suppose so. I can't imagine a Batizu who could be so careless, though. And that's it. There's no other way out. Well, I suppose the Batizu in question were to inadvertently break the stipulation of the contract, it would become null and void. The same would happen if Batizu broke any of our laws in carrying out the contract. Batizu law, eh? Interesting. Mind if I ask you another question? Of course. What would you like to know? I was wondering if you could tell me about Batizu law. Aren't you the Inquisitive one? Sad to say, Batizu law is far too complex for a mortal to possibly understand in a single lifetime of study. Could you at least give me a brief explanation of how it works, at least in relates to mortals? You may as well ask for the ocean to be served to you in a thimble, but I will try. Batizu law is based on the concept of volition. Mortals are our property by divine decree so long as they willingly give themselves to us. But there are rules. Always there are rules. Under no circumstances is Batizu allowed to coerce a mortal into signing a contract. The same applies to the fulfillment of a contract in whole and in part. So if a Batizu were to force a mortal to complete a conditioning a contract, that would make it null and void? Why, yes, I suppose it would. Yes, it is. Oh, interesting. Yes, it is. Do you have any more questions? I would like to ask some questions about the contract. By all means, a fine piece of work, that document, one of my finest. In fact, we already read this, so let's continue. I'd like to know about the favors and conditions. Getting down to the meat of the document, I see. What kind of favors? Oh, many things. Some people want to be stronger, richer, or have certain problems, shall we say, taken care of. We are happy to oblige as long as they fulfill the conditions we set. What sort of conditions? The conditions require mortals to fulfill are generally small matters that are only interest to my kind. Why are they only of interest to your kind? Well, we Batizu have a certain vested interest, as it were, in the things people do. If we can make them do certain things, it benefits us. You grow stronger by making mortals misbehave, you mean. That's a rather simplistic view of things, but no less correct for being so. I have another question. I have a question to ask about Ferris. Did he really fulfill all the conditions in the contract? Oh, yes, he had a slow start. How did he finish quickly? Once the first few tasks... Okay. I'd like to ask him a question about the contract. What sort of conditions, such as... Petty acts such as theft, cruel acts such as torture, and finally terrible acts like... cruel acts such as torture, and finally terrible acts like murder. What do you gain by forcing mortals to do such acts? It's quite like your mortal jobs. If I perform well in this task, I stand a chance of being promoted. And if you do poorly, I find it better not to think of those terms. I have another question. About the favors. Okay. About the contract. Contracts in general. Okay. So have you figured out how to save me yet? I have a few leads, but I'll need to ask you some questions. Of course, I'll tell you anything you wish. Let's talk about the favors. The contract says you had to fulfill all their conditions in order to lose the soul. But that's it. I never fulfilled all the conditions. I performed a few of them, sure, but not all. Why don't we go over each of the favors individually? Yes, of course. Must be thorough. Go ahead and ask me about them. It says you needed to inflict pain on a helpless creature as a condition of the first favor. Did you do that? Sadly, yes. I cast a minor cantrip at Ithias's rabbit familiar. How it ran. Did you receive a powerful magic item like it says in the contract? If you can call it that. The next morning I discovered a tome of infernal spells at the foot of my bed. I can't even read infernal. You really are a horrible person. When did you fulfill this condition? It was the first condition I fulfilled, since I thought it sounded the most harmless. Okay, I want to ask about a different favor. Second favor required that you perform a mischievous act. Did you do that? Ah, yes, I made one of Ithias's potions explode in his face when he presented it to old Galban. He had been bragging about that potion for a week. Served him right. Did you receive increased skill in one area of endeavor? Actually, yes. The following week I started noticing a change in my potion making and began to come to me naturally. Pretty soon I had surpassed Ithias. Master Galban even complimented me one day on what a fine potion I had made. Wow, and it only cost you your soul. Yes, it only cost me... Oh, that's right. What am I going to do? Calm yourself. I have other questions. Right. Ask your questions. When did you fulfill this condition? Shortly after the first, maybe a day or two later. Let me ask about a different favor. Did that. The third favor required that you cast an evil spell. Did you ever do that? No, no, I didn't. That's it. That's my way out. Do you hear that, Inzibur? I never cast an evil spell, so your contract is nothing but scrap paper. Ha! Master Ferris, you do recall that you summoned me to answer your questions the day Master Ithias discovered us talking, don't you? Yes, because your other favors all vanished, you cheat. And you do realize that summoning a denizen of the Nine Hells would be considered evil in most circles, correct? Well, when you put it like that, I suppose... Oh, gods, I did cast an evil spell. I'm doomed, I tell you! Get a hold of yourself, man. What? Are you mad? I mean, you're correct. I must not panic. Please, let us continue the questions. Did you ever receive this wish of limited power mentioned in the contract? A wish? No, I didn't. Wait, that must mean I have a wish left. That would make sense. I wish that I had never signed that contract. Did it work? Doesn't look like it. Hells, I must have already used the wish at some point. Not real. Any idea when? Not really. I guess it's not important now. It was worth a try. Ready to get back to the questioning? When did you fulfill this condition? I finished this one third about a year after the first two. Let's talk about the other favors. The fourth favor required that you grievously wound someone. Sound familiar? Yes, I suppose Ithias and the whole acid bath incident would account for that one. You're right. Did you become more intelligent, as it says? Yes, I noticed immediately that things became easier to put together and understand. Not that it helped, seeing as how I spent that moment onward running from my life. When did you fulfill this condition? I suppose I completed this 1/5, however long it was between summoning Inzibur and Ithias finding us. Uh-huh. Let's find about the other favors. The fifth favor required you to cause the death of another. You didn't do that, did you? No, I never killed anyone, I swear. Did you become more powerful? I might be difficult to believe, but I wasn't always the fearsome wizard you see before you now. A few 10 days ago, I was still an eager but inexperienced apprentice, which means you received the reward. The question is, who did you kill? No one. Honest. I've never even seen a dead body, thanks be to Kellamvor. What about Ithias? You did say you hurt him pretty bad. Maybe he died of the wounds. Impossible. I checked it myself before fleeing, and while the acid will probably leave a lasting mark or 10, the wounds were not mortal. What about Galvin? Well, I certainly didn't kill him, although what happened was rather odd. One moment he was advancing on me while casting a spell, the next he was gone. Did you cast a spell at him? No, I was too scared. It wouldn't have done any good anyway. He would have swept any spell I knew away with a wave of his hand. All I did was cringe and wish he'd go away. Wait, you made a wish. In a manner of speaking, I didn't say out loud I wish my master would go away, but I did think it over and over at the time. It says in the contract that the third favor was a wish of limited power. Since Galvin attacked you after you summoned Inzibur, you would have had a wish. Oh, right! Oh, gods, I did it! I'm responsible for my master's death. Galvin had friends, powerful friends, oh, gods. Did you actually wish for his death? No, if you want to be technical about it, then no. Interesting. That may be the key to this whole puzzle. Really? I believe so. Ready for more questions? Absolutely. It sounds like we're making progress. I want to ask about something else. Second thought, no more questions right now. I haven't checked the contract again, but I think that's... Hello again, my friend. Always a pleasure. What would you like to discuss now? Question about the contract, Ferris, Batizu Law. Your contract with Ferris is null and void. Oh, is it? And how exactly did you come to that conclusion? You broke Batizu Law. Oh, you think so, do you? Then regale me with the tale of how I managed to break laws I know by heart and whose existence you learned of mere minutes ago. You claim that Ferris fulfilled all the conditions of the contract of his own volition, correct? Of course, I didn't coerce him into anything, if that's what you're trying to say. Of course. And what about the condition of the final favor? What about it? It required him to kill someone, and he did. And what death did Ferris cause? Why, his master Galvin, of course. I'm sure Ferris told you all about it. He has. How did Galvin die again? Ferris wished him dead. I was only too happy to oblige and cast the disintegrate spell myself. But Ferris didn't wish him dead. Of course he did. He wished that his master would go away, not that he would die. You were the one who decided to interpret that as a wish for his death. Let us suppose for a moment that you are correct. What does it matter? The wish was made, and here we are. Because by interpreting his wish in that manner, you forced him to fulfill the condition of the last favor. Don't be silly. Nobody forced him. Wait. Wait. I'm right, aren't I? I said wait. Let me think for a moment. There's no way around it. Batizu law has been broken. Your contract is worthless. Damn you, mortal. I will not forget this. Good. Make sure you remember the smile on my face right now, too. Yay. What just happened? Is it done? Am I free? Indeed, Inzabur's contract with you is no more. Excellent. How did you do it? Really, I must know. He broke the law of his kind by making you complete one of the conditions of the contract. Really? Thank the gods you came along. I never would have figured... I mean, you saved me a great deal of time. Thank you so much. It was nothing. Please leave. Well, that being said, I really must be off. Thanks again. You suddenly feel a light tug as a strange weapon suddenly materializes among your possessions. What is this dream dagger? Incorporeal, positive energy, +6. On hit does sleep. Immune to illusion. Unique power. Well, that was lovely. A lot of talking to get to it. Okay, here we go. Right, gain high influence with your followers, give you and them. Let's go to you. Yes. Long ago, Githyanki were a slave race, the Illithids, and blah 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 blah. Did Ilsin send you to rescue me, or are you with the Githyanki? I'm here to slay you. Ha! Catch me if you can. I may be caught by you, but you won't find me easy prey.
This wound won't heal soon!
That did not take very long. Interesting. And Gan has leveled. There we go. Okay.
What do you need?
That did not take long at all. I guess he plays a sort of, he normally plays some sort of running around, taking you different places sort of game. It's supposed to, I guess you're supposed to chase him around and he's supposed to make you run more. Interesting. Epic level druids can eventually gain a dragon as their animal companion. But then I'd lose the dinosaur. Okay. I think this is going to take me into the Coven. I got about 3 minutes left. MoB, Meren, prisons released. On this video, we shall enter the portal. Those who die without committing themselves to a god are judged faithless and imprisoned in a living wall that surrounds the city of judgment, the wall of the faithless. These doomed souls are slowly dissolved with the very substance of the well. Speaking of which... The game just saved. Yeah, the air is thick with screams. They rise like a symphony under a dead gray sky. Each note a shriek of rage, a plea for mercy, or a moan of despair. Is this a dream? It seems. Meren Maynard. The sound of your name is hoarse and distant, yet it cuts through the din of voices coming from a twisted but familiar form. It lies embedded in the wall just ahead. Hello? Can I get a better look at you? Bishop?
The man you knew as Bishop lies encased in a quivering greenish mold. His limbs are twisted at odd angles, as if they are broken. His face, frozen in a grimace of pain, barely clears the surface of the wall, like the face of a drowning man gasping for air. His eyes meet yours, and you realize that all the color has drained from his hair and his flesh. One of his eyes is completely white and bulging.
You turned against Garius and fled. You survived.
Funny. I remember things differently. Halfway out of the temple, everything shakes, and 100 tons of rock fall on my head. Last thing I recall seeing were bits of my own skull.
Who is this one? He speaks as if he knows you.
And where's dear Casimir? Have you already traded up for this hag-spawned wretch? Or did you leave the paladin under a pile of rock as well?
Oh, I did forget you had the thing with Casimir. I do not know what happened to Casimir.
Well, if I see him in the wall, I'll give him your best. We'll chat about old times and trade tales of our fickle swamp wench.
At once, the wall shudders, convulses. The twisted figures trapped within cry out as one as the entire wall shifts. Limbs shudder, bones crack, and the greenish mold expands, covering faces, eyes, and mouths. The smirk leaves Bishop's face, replaced for one naked moment by wide-eyed fear.
Can you hear it? In the screams. Underneath the screams. The reason you're here. They all know.
They know why I'm here.
They've been here longer. Decades. Centuries. The wall's hunger takes some more quickly than others, and some hold on. Pointlessly, staving off oblivion. Battling for every moment. They're infected with hope. Waiting for the crusade to return.
Betrayer's Crusade. What do you know about it?
Bishop's one good eye loses focus. It seems to look through you, beyond you. The screams and cries of the other souls become quieter, as if they are suddenly listening to his words.
It ended here. This wall. It hungers. It drains everything away.
Okay, I'm going to switch to a new video. See you in a moment.